So to give you a little historical background, and then we'll watch the videos and call it a day. 1G is the brick phones. It's
the brick
Nokia.
phones.
and it came out in 1984, and each unit was worth priced $4,000
4,000.
at 1984. So that's crazy price. That's crazy price.
Money was worth a lot.
So only the rich had it.
No,
Only the rich. Only the super rich had it.
Back then, $4,000 would equal so much more.
More
right
now. So tens of thousands. Tens of
Exactly.
thousands.
That's
So the very first version, 1G, the brick phone that looked like a brick, literally, and that could only make calls. You make calls, you receive calls. That's the only thing it does. That's 1G. That was $4,000 when it first came out. Only the rich were using it. The people who are on jets, people who are on yachts, stuff like that, those people. But 2G came out, and now you've added texting. Yeah, that's the one. So brick phone, first 1G, but then, technology evolves, you have better infrastructure, now you have texting. 3G is when they started to hook up to the internet. 3G is when iPhone came out.
oh my god, 3G looks so ugly, sorry.
It's okay, but it was revolutionary.
There's some people that want to use 3G, like my grandfather who lives in the urban area, and then if you do 4G there, it doesn't really work.
Mhm.
So he just used this folder phone with 3G on it, then it's perfectly fine.
Sure. If you don't need to use heavy internet, if your internet usage on the phone isn't heavy, then you can be perfectly happy with using a 3G or 2G phone. I know there's a lot of people who use 2G deliberately because they don't want to use a smartphone, because they know a lot of people can hack into it and then mess with your data. So just, if you use a 2G and you don't have a smartphone, you don't have to worry about that as much. But anyway, 3G, iPhone comes out, new tech, it's a phone, but it's also a tablet. It's also your connectivity to the net, to the internet. And you can check your emails, you can browse to the web, whatever. But once people got used to browsing the web on a phone, they're like, I want faster speeds. I want to stream videos.
Oh.
I want to listen to music. I want to download movies at super fast rates. So they moved to 4G. And then once they moved to 4G, it's like, yo, we want to connect everything to the internet, so IoT. We want to have self-driving cars. We want to have, smart meters.
That's actually, I
What
want
could
to
be after 5G?
6G.
No, like.
What would it look like?
Yeah. Everything
Holograms, instant messaging, video messaging, whatever. Just more stuff. The more stuff available. Okay, so let's watch a couple of videos and then break you up into teams today.
What?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah, I want to do that today. I want to break you up into teams.
So what's the teams what vs what?
So, do you think that the Korean government should promote 5G or shouldn't promote 5G?
Oh.
Korea has every reason to promote 5G. Why? Because we've been on the front seat of every technological advancement. So we're jumping onto the next one too. If we did from 1 to 4, why stop there? Why not go further? Of course, going further. And as you mentioned, Samsung is actually one of the leaders of 5G technology. They have, if I'm not mistaken, Korea has the most patents on 5G technology. So the Korean government as a whole and the industry has a commitment to this technology, and we want to be the leaders. We always want to be the leader. So whatever new technology is going to help us to get that towards that direction, then we're jumping in. 5G, let's go. 6G, let's go. So at the same time, if you think this is potentially causing cancer and you don't want this next to your body and you don't want too much of it, because if you have Wi-Fi everywhere, can you find a place in Seoul where you don't have Wi-Fi radiation?
The moon.
I'm just saying in Seoul. If you live in Seoul, is it possible for you to find a spot where you are not being radiated by Wi-Fi signals?
No, it's not.
It's almost impossible.
So it's like the
It's almost impossible.
main thing that the 5G is worried about is the radiation, not other things.
Well, the government in the US, they say, oh yeah, it can heat you up. Because remember microwave heat stuff? There's a thermal aspect, and if it heats you, then it can harm you. But in terms of the radiation, the EM waves, there's no conclusive evidence. We don't think it's a serious issue, so we're not worried about it. And that was the policy 20 years ago, 30 years ago that they had, and they never changed. They never bothered to change. The people who are concerned are saying, stop putting cell phone towers in front of my house. Stop putting these new cell sites or whatever, because I'm being radiated with all the signals that it's sending out. I don't want that. So you have towns trying to break down 5G towers.
What about like the privacy things? Like, isn't that one of the issues too?
I would think that if somebody had access to the nodes and can see what is coming in out of those antennas, then potentially they can take valuable information that's usually not available elsewhere. So yeah, that's totally doable. That's totally doable. But I don't want to go down that road and say, what if somebody, hacks into the system and then takes your which does happen, sure, but it's more on a legitimate fundamental level. Should the government be doing it, assuming that the government will try their best and the companies will try their best so that no hackers can take your information or they're going to cause you harm. They're going to try to do everything they can to make it easy and convenient for you, but the underlying technology in and of itself, there's a concern. 1G, 2G, 3G, there were concerns about cell phone radiation. So 4G, 5G, 6G, the higher you go, the concern goes up, it doesn't go down. Does that make sense? Yeah.
What does fundamental mean?
Like the very, very base layer. The very base layer. So the moment you think that I'm going to be sending a message, a movie stream, or whatever it is, you want to send data from one place to another without lines, without cords, without cables, then it has to be so that an antenna here and an antenna there is sending and receiving information. And that happened since 1G. 1G, towers were apart 25 kilometers, so very far apart. 2G is like 5 kilometers. 3G was about 500 meters, if I'm not mistaken.
So
4G was 50 meters. And then 5G now is 20 meters. Do you see the trend?
how much is 50 meters?
Well, I'm saying it's gonna be, you're gonna see more cell sites and more cell towers as we kick up into the higher gear with 5G and 6G. You're gonna see more of those sites. It's only logical to say why, because the frequency is high, therefore the distance is short. So you need to have cell sites at closer intervals than 1G, 2G, and 3G. Yeah.
Wait, so like if 5G is like below like digital spectrum and like if it like keeps going up, then like when like if it's like I don't know 20 something G, wouldn't we be able to see it?
You mentioned something really important. So visible spectrum right down in the middle,
Yeah.
small
so,
sliver. That's the only thing you can see. The other waves that are out there, can you see them? Can you see them?
No, but like if it's like keep like going up to a higher frequency.
Okay, so first of all, you can't see them or hear them. Although you can use machines, there are certain machines that you can put onto and say it'll have that bzzz, the electronic sounds. There are apparatuses, there are tools that you can use to hear these signals, but normally we don't hear them, and normally we don't see them. But just because we don't see it and we don't hear it, does that mean that it's not there?
No.
So even if we can't see it, even if we can't hear it, these waves are hitting us every day, every second. Anytime you go and there's a cell phone tower or whatever tower, it is sending and receiving information in waves. And if you go past that, then you're getting hit, no matter what. Now you may not know because you don't see it or feel it, but now we're at a point where people feel this and say, oh, I'm feeling the waves and I'm getting sick. And they have to move or they have to get rid of it or something because they're feeling ill. Does that make sense?
Hard.
This is a serious topic.
It's a topic, it's a serious